Hi Lakers, we're going through the entire course selection presentation just like we used to do in your classrooms, just so that you can have a condensed version of how to actually go through the course selection and get all the important information that you need to know for this upcoming year in terms of selecting your courses and making sure you're on track. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't ever hesitate to contact your guidance counselor directly. And we also have shorter videos about different pieces of this presentation that if in fact you just have some specific questions, you can most certainly reference the shorter videos as well. If you haven't met your guidance counselor, these are each of the counselors along with their caseload. We highly recommend you introduce yourself if you haven't yet met us. But again, we will be definitely meeting you over the course of your 4 years, most certainly to kind of discuss and see how you're doing and also get more involved with your post-secondary planning as you get a little bit older. We're going to go over some graduation requirements. We're going to talk about the CTE program for any person that may be interested and isn't yet in the program. And then we're going to go into how to actually sign up for your courses online. So in terms of graduation requirements, Silver Lake requires 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 3 years of science, including biology and physical science, 3 years of social study, which includes world history and US 1 and 2. For most of you, for freshman year, you're going to take 1 year of wellness. Additionally, you're going to take 3 semesters of wellness through 10th through 12th grade. You're going to take 4 credits of either fine and or practical arts. Those classes include anything in the fine arts, anything in the music category, or anything in the more practical arts, which are those engineering type classes or more hands-on classes like power systems or principles of engineering. You're going to take 2 credits of a computer class. And you are required to do 40 hours of community service, which we're going to go into in a little bit. For Silver Lake's graduation requirements, world language is not required, but it is strongly recommended for admission to a more traditional 4-year college. And obviously, CTE students have a little bit of a difference along the way. If you have any specific questions, see your guidance counselor with regards to that. We're going to total 96 credits, which is the minimum you need to receive a diploma through Silver Lake, which for most of you, you'll have well over 96 credits, but that is the minimum in terms of getting your diploma. For community service, for anyone who has done community service, there are 2 rules. One is you can't get paid, and one is you can't complete community service for an immediate family member. We do require 40 hours of service that's documented, and we have 3 different ways to document. We do have yellow community service forms located down in guidance right when you walk in. You can pick those up at any point in time while you're in the building. You can also print them off online through our guidance website under the form section and return those when they're completed. And the third way is if in fact you've completed community service and didn't have a form, feel free to just have whoever you completed it with write down on a piece of paper what you did, how many hours, and some contact information. And you're more than welcome to bring that in as well. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to see your guidance counselor. For anyone who is in 9th and or 10th grade who is potentially looking to get involved in our CTE, which is our Career and Technical Education program, here are the programs that we offer at Silver Lake. Please, there is a process in terms of admission. It is an application-based program. So the first step, if you are in fact interested, if you're already part of the program, you do not need to reapply. But if in fact you're interested in your 9th and 10th grade, 11th graders, you do want to speak to your guidance counselor. Unfortunately, that is a less traditional path because it's so late in your 4-year career. But 9th and 10th grade, there are still a lot of potential in terms of movement into the CTE program. First and foremost, you're going to set up a meeting with your guidance counselor. The second step is to complete a CTE application, which we can provide you down in guidance. And that's going to be handed into your guidance counselor no later than April 1st. Once that application has been processed, you'll be scheduled to interview with our CTE program coordinator, which is Mr. Glass, and Mrs. McGovern, who's the CTE guidance counselor. If in fact you have any questions or concerns, you're not sure about the program, or you're not sure about the application process, please come down to guidance and we can most certainly explain it to you. In terms of courses for next year, the big question is, how do I sign up for classes? So the program of studies is located on our Silver Lake Regional High School website. That's a separate presentation if in fact you want to get an idea of where that's located. When you scroll down and click on the program of studies, you're more than welcome to look at any of the classes that we offer. It's located about 3/4 of the way down on the homepage for the Silver Lake Regional High School. where that big red arrow is. When you click on it, it's going to take you to a picture that looks like this, which just essentially gives you the ability to read the whole book, or you can break it down by individual subject area. This just gives a summary of every single class that Silver Lake offers, so that you can, if you needed a quick reference with course numbers and just a page that you were looking for the description, you're more than welcome to take a look. This is a sample for your course sequence. This is going to be a little bit different for everyone, and it's obviously a little bit different from grade 9 all the way through grade 12. As you can see, this just essentially maps out a more college preparatory type 4-year sequence. Again, as you progress, you're going to meet more of your graduation requirements. As you can see in 11th and 12th grade, you're going to start having more availability for electives, for continuing in languages, for doubling up potentially in content area classes. It's really important to meet with your guidance counselor if in fact you have any questions about what courses you should take that may align you with what your future goals are moving forward. But this just gives you an idea of what the expectation is, and obviously, like I said, if there's any specific questions, feel free to come see one of us. CTE students, yours is going to look a tad different just because of your shops and vocational requirements. So feel free to contact Mrs. McGovern with specific questions for your schedule moving forward. This is a quick reference for the course selection process. So if you're at home and you're working on your course selections, feel free to keep this handy. It walks you through every single step that we're going to go over today. The first piece is to log into your PowerSchool account. If in fact you don't know your PowerSchool login, I would advise you cannot do the course registration process on your phone. You do need to do it on a computer or your Chromebook or a laptop or a desktop at your house. Once you log in, if you don't know your login information, please contact guidance and we can most certainly help you with that. The second step is to click on the left-hand side, the class registration tab, where that big red arrow is. Once you select that, it's going to take you to this slide right here, which is essentially all the recommendations that your teachers have made. So your core classes are going to have gone through and made recommendations based on how you're currently doing this year. As you go through, you're going to see that sometimes there's multiple classes open, sometimes there isn't a recommendation for things like electives and things of that nature, but essentially you're going to read through, and then on the bottom is where you're going to actually choose your courses for next year. To register for a class, you're going to click on the little pencil on the right-hand side. That pencil is then going to open up some options for you. So based on your teacher recommendation, this particular student was recommended for honors geometry. That's the only recommendation that was made for that particular student by his teacher, his or her teacher. So if in fact the student agrees and the teacher has recommended it, you're more than welcome to select where that left-handed arrow is, check off the honors geometry, and then hit OK on the bottom. If in fact, for some of you, you may notice that there are multiple classes that are recommended. All this does is gives you the opportunity to make the choice that you think is in your best interest. Most likely, your teacher will have made a more clear recommendation in the recommendation sections on the first page, but in fact, there might be multiple classes open for you. Our advanced placement classes are open enrollment, so those will be open for most students who are age appropriate for those classes. So just be mindful when you're choosing that you are choosing the correct level for yourself based on how you're currently doing. And obviously, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to speak to your content level teacher. Once in fact you are done with selecting some courses, you're going to hit OK, and that credit amount on the bottom is going to continue to increase. As you can see, the required amount of credits is 28. That means that is a full schedule. This particular student only has 10 credits that is listed based on the classes that they've selected, so they need an additional 18 in order to fill their schedule. As you get going and you continue in, you're going to notice that there's also electives to choose from. As you can see in the bottom of this electives window, there are multiple pages of electives. So when you do open that up, it's going to start with the A's, but that does go all the way through for about 15 pages. So just be mindful of that. Language is also going to be considered under the electives. So as you're going to see, there are going to be some electives that do have a recommendation or do require a recommendation in order for you to access. And then other electives are classes that anyone can take, so you'll be able to select those. If in fact you wanted to continue with French 4, like this student is, you would select that and hit OK. As you can see, the Fundamentals of Art class, which is open to any student, is open for that student to choose. but the guitar reading and notation is not, because that does require a prerequisite. So that's the difference going to be through the elective section. Please be mindful of that, and if there is a question or if there is a class that you know you'd like to take, or maybe you haven't met the prerequisite but have a question about it, please feel free to contact someone in guidance. CTE students, you're not going to be signing up for wellness, just as an FYI while you're doing your course selections. As you can see, this particular student has completed all of their core classes. They've got their gym in there. They have their electives as well as their language. And at the bottom, where the red arrow is on the left, they have fulfilled 28 credits worth of classes, which is a full schedule. If in fact this was you and you were all set, you would hit submit on the right-hand side. Once you hit submit, it's going to bring you to a summary page. And all this does is tells you exactly what you selected in a more condensed way. Tells you the total amount of credits that you've selected as well to make sure that you've lined up to that 28 credit mark. You're going to want to hit submit at any point in time when you want to save your information. For some of you, you may come back to this and change it. You may not be fully finished. You may have to talk to one of your teachers. That is absolutely fine. You're going to make sure you hit submit, and all that will do is save your information so that you don't have to start over the next time. If in fact you did make a mistake or you do need to complete your course selections, on the left-hand side, again, you're going to click on class registration, which will bring you right back to that selection page with your information already stored that you've completed, so that you can add or adjust anything that you need to. If in fact you're done, and this page is just a summary for you, we do recommend you either taking a picture of it with your phone, or printing it out just so that you can remember what you signed up for, since the course selection process does go on for some time. The total number of credits again is 28. That's what everyone must select, and that is a full schedule. You're not going to be selecting directed studies, and like I said, CTE students, please contact Mrs. McGovern if in fact you have any questions about what you should or shouldn't be putting in. Again, if in fact you're done and you feel like everything is done and you've got the classes that you want and you've got the credits that equal 28, you're more than welcome to print this out or take a screenshot of it and save it for when you get your official schedule at the end of the summer. Once you've submitted each of your course requests through PowerSchool, the next piece is going to be completing our alternative elective form. That's going to be a Google form that comes to your school email. We're going to send it out after the course selection process is complete. And it's going to allow you to select alternates to classes that may or may not be available for you to take. Those classes include any art classes, any music classes, any elective type based classes that may in fact not run, or there may be a conflict with your core classes, or the class sizes may be too big. There's a lot of reasons why we use the alternates, so please take a minute and fill that out accurately. Make sure you're putting down alternates that you actually have an interest in, so that when we actually do go through the schedules, if in fact we have to pull one of your alternates because there's some sort of conflict, or you didn't get the class that you chose as your first choice, we have something to go based on. The only requirement for the alternates is that you cannot sign up for directed studies. This is what the form will look like. Again, it's very simple. You're going to put your name, and then there's going to be 3 drop-down menus based on your age. You're going to select 3 classes that would be alternates to classes that you put down for your first choice, which was through PowerSchool. Once you've completed the PowerSchool, the portal information, and then you've also done the alternate form, you are all set for your courses in terms of the course selection process for next year. If you obviously have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to come down and talk to your guidance counselor. We are available at any point through email, drop-in, or virtual meeting. And we definitely think it's helpful if you have any questions to let us know so that we can answer them ahead of time and make the process as smooth as possible. Best of luck.